Okay, we're back. We're back, and I wanted to cover the story a friend of mine was telling me about. And I don't know, is this a case of mental health, mental illness? This UFC star. We're gonna take a look at his posts and videos. Let me just make sure we're actually live here, in the correct place. Okay, we should be live. Um, this guy is a former UFC champion, BJ Penn, and he began posting some alarming stuff in the early April. I mean, it's still kind of early April, but a series of concerning messages on social media. He alleges that his mother Lorraine Shin, and his brothers JD, Reagan, and Kalani have been murdered. I should have even thought about that, about the title. Claims family murdered. That's crazy. That is pretty wild. That is wild. His family's been murdered and replaced by imposters. So, does anybody know? Ever heard of this guy? I don't know too much. I watched UFC just for leisure kind of enjoyment once in a blue moon, but I'm not like a huge person, so I don't know these fighters. And he's making claims that his family has been murdered and replaced by fake frauds. The Hall of Fame fighter has called on cops in Hawaii to launch an investigation, insisting that he is the target of a conspiracy. Penn competed in the UFC between 2001 and 2019 and won world titles in 2 divisions before being introduced or inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's 46 years old now, and he's made a series of disturbing posts. Here's one post. Hilo Police Department, I need your help. My mother and my brother were all murdered. We're all murdered, and I need you to investigate. This was 2 days ago. He posted a picture of his mama. What?
Murdered. And this picture right here, I took it during the governor's campaign. My mom's anti-helix is falling off and in her ear. And you can see the 2 different kind of skins on the back of her neck, that she's wearing some kind of makeup, a skin makeup. And then here's my brother. I thought his ears looked funny, so I go, let me see your ears. And then I looked and I saw his eye later, and then he has freckles on his ear. And none of us have freckles, not even my white dad doesn't even have freckles. So I want to ask the Hilo Police Department, what are you guys going to do? Let's get these guys. Let's get these guys. They got murdered. They go find out these people, and then we got to take DNA tests for all the other Lorraine Shin, my brothers JD Penn, Reagan Penn, and Kalani Mamazuka were all murdered. And this picture right here, I took it during the governor's campaign. My mom's anti-helix is falling off and in her ear, and you can see the 2 different kind of skins on the back of her neck, that she's wearing some kind of makeup, a skin makeup. And then here's my brother. I thought his ears looked funny, so I go, let me see your ears. And then I looked and I saw his eye later, and then he has freckles on his ear. And none of us have freckles, not even my white dad doesn't even have freckles. So I want to ask the Hilo Police Department, what are you guys going to do? Let's get these guys. Let's get these guys. They got murdered. They go find out these people, and then we got to take DNA tests for all the other Lorraine Shin, my brothers JD Penn.
Okay. Wow, that's actually like really scary, concerning. I'd be very, very concerned if I was his family too, not only for him, but their own safety. He's going to do something, he's going to hurt somebody. And people are commenting, BJ, you're bugging, man. This is very schizomo. Please get help. We love you, brother. That dude is 100% your brother. Someone needs to intervene before things escalate. CTE for sure. Hate seeing such a legend of the sport go through this. BJ Brown would recommend looking into something called Capgras syndrome. It can occur when damage to the frontal lobe. It's got to be probably really hard to communicate with somebody like that, to convince them, maybe to even try to get help. Find Jesus. We love you. Geez, the amount of criticism and jokes. This is someone's son, brother. Truly a legend and a super nice guy when I got to meet him. I don't think there's anything wrong with people saying get help. I mean, he needs help, I don't know if that's what they're talking about. So he's been making posts. People are getting concerned. Okay. He's telling his people need to be investigated. He's calling on the police. Real JD versus fake JD. I guess this was like another post doing comparisons. Okay, back teeth gone. Reminds me of somebody, actually. Somebody doing this kind of stuff. Penn competed in the UFC between 2001 and 2019.
I made a video earlier talking about my mom and my brothers getting hurt. This is real JD and fake JD. Real JD has all of his teeth and a pointy chin. Fake JD is taller and has a crooked front left tooth and no back teeth, even though me, JD, and Reagan never had a cavity in our whole entire lives. I finally found a real picture of JD, his wedding picture. The fake JD with no teeth is from the last Thanksgiving a couple months ago. This is the original picture that I noticed something was strange because his eye color was brown, not black, and had a crooked front tooth, which I never saw before. I googled JD's name and there were no pictures of him on the internet, only one or two of himself and none showing his teeth. So I asked Rich Cho, Bellator matchmaker who is always with JD, to send me a picture of JD with his teeth. Rich sent a picture, but it looked like it was photoshopped. His tooth was extra white, so I kept bugging fake Lorraine Chin about JD's teeth and that it wasn't him, to have JD send me a picture, and then this new fake JD guy sends a picture of all of his teeth back in his mouth. Third JD has a growth up on his right eye. His right cauliflower ear is completely different, and the other JD, and he doesn't match up, but I try to push them together in a collage thing just to try to line it up, just to see if it is real and realize how many people are playing JD. And this picture that I noticed, the kids look like Fraggle Rock. LJ's neck is so long, so I compared him to long neck guy, and then I looked at the younger boy MJ, and his eye goes under by the nose, and there's nothing here that looks like LJ's.
Wow. That's really bad. I don't know if anybody's been in contact with his brother or mom. Yeah, like I hope somebody is. And to make sure they're safe. I think the family needs to be really, really careful how they handle this. And they want to, to get him help because you just don't know if he's going to hurt himself or hurt somebody, And the paranoia, and my whole family's dead, and if he's thinking he's having a hard time with reality, they're not real, you're not real, it's really dangerous. He claimed that they had been replaced by imposters who are now trying to steal everything from his family. If I harm any of these people that are acting like my mom or my brothers, then I go to jail and lose everything, he wrote. If they harm me, nothing will happen to them and I lose everything. I have many black belts over the years that are police officers. Are you guys going to help me? Are we going to help JD and Reagan and my mother and look for them and investigate these fake frauds who are trying to steal everything from my family? Damn, bro. That is scary. I just want to play a little bit of this video too.
What's up, Paul? Huh? You what? You can only do this because you get the government behind you. You get crazy.
Alright, so BJ Penn just posted one of the most confusing and honestly deeply depressing things that I've seen an MMA fighter post in a long while. Yeah, not gonna be any jokes in this one, guys. I really don't even know how to structure a video like this, so I guess let's just watch the rest of what he posted and I'll break it down after.
This lady right here, look at her ass and legs. She's acting like my 79-year-old mother, but she's not.
Damn, that's his mom, bro, that he's like posting like that.
My 79-year-old mother. And it's interesting when you Google Lorraine Abele, our house pops up because this lady acts like Lorraine Inouye. So you Google Lorraine Abele and this house pops up, and then you look and then my mom's name starts popping up. She's trying to steal everything, and this is not my mother. And I'm putting this up because she's saying that she's going to get an attorney and try to do something. She's trying to throw me out, and if I attack her, she'll try to do something, TRO or something else, but she's...
Come on. Get off the road. Get off the road.
Dude, I genuinely don't even know where to begin with this. Very, very rarely do I find myself as confused as I am right now. So clearly Penn seems to think that this woman that you see here is not his mom, even though she's cooking in his family home. And I just want to point out that when you look at BJ's mom on the internet, whose name is Lorraine Shin, then you'll very easily find videos of her talking to the camera, and it's pretty obvious that this woman in the kitchen is in fact his mom. Like, there's this video of her from 2022 where she speaks in support of his campaign for governor, and even though you can tell that she's aged a bit since then, it's definitely the same person.
My name is Lorraine Shin, and I'm BJ Penn's mom.
She's acting like my 79-year-old mother, but she's not my 79-year-old mother.
And then things get even weirder when in the next part of the video, he starts talking about if you Google the name Lorraine Abele of Hilo, Hawaii, then you'll start to see results for the house that he lives in.
When you Google Lorraine Abele, our house pops up.
And yes, when I input the same search terms into Google, I do get one single result for the Penn family home, but that's because 1, his real mom's name is Lorraine, 2, the Penn family is famous in Hilo, Hawaii, and 3, their family home is apparently a historically significant building in the area. So it's really not all that weird or suspicious that when you Google Lorraine Abele, Hilo, Hawaii, you'll end up getting search results for a famous house of a famous person named Lorraine who lives in Hilo. Then he puts some text on the screen where he accuses the Abele family, Lorraine Anoye, as well as the government of trying to steal his family's money. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be asking, who the fuck are the Abeles? And I really, really wish that I could give you some sort of answer to that, but I cannot. He called out Paul Abele in the first clip that I showed you, and throughout the rest of the video, he accuses Lorraine Abele of stealing his mom's identity, and the only thing that I could find on them is that Paul Abele is a former MMA fighter with 1 pro fight, and he's from Hawaii. When it comes to Lorraine, I haven't found a single thing across the internet explaining who she is or how she's at all associated to the Penn family. I mean, maybe BJ and Paul knew each other from the Hawaiian MMA world, and maybe there was some falling out between the two recently. I really have no idea. I will say this though, what I do think is happening, and I'm really not even sure about this, is that BJ is accusing the Abele family of working with Lorraine Anoye, who is a current state senator of Hawaii, by the way, and Lorraine Anoye is the person who he thinks is pretending to be his mom, because according to BJ, the person in his kitchen acts like Lorraine Anoye.
Our house pops up because this lady acts like Lorraine Anoye.
Then in the next panel, he reveals the faces of 2 of the Abele family members, which are these girls right here. One of them is named Heidi, but the other girl is apparently the Lorraine Abele that he's been talking about. And it's like, what is even going on here, man? Who are the Abeles? What is the significance of Lorraine Abele if they're supposedly using Lorraine Anoye as the imposter? Why is everyone in this story named Lorraine? I just don't get it. And I understand that I'm trying to make sense out of a man who's clearly suffering from some sort of mental illness, but I feel like
So this is pretty wild, pretty wild. And so in some of the history, as far as like, because I was thinking too, like substances, right? Because it looked to me at first, I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, okay, maybe his career, he's gotten a lot of punches on the head, and maybe he's suffering, you know. And I was wondering, like, has there been any history of substance abuse? It says BJ Penn, a former UFC champion, has faced several allegations and incidents related to substance use throughout his career. USDA suspension 2016. In 2016, he received a 6-month suspension from the United States Anti-Doping Agency for unauthorized use of an intravenous infusion exceeding the allowed volume during and out of competition. Okay, that's an IV with fluids. Okay, 2019, allegations by Shiolin Yuwa, Penn's former partner, Shilan, obtained a restraining order against him, alleging a history of verbal, physical, and sexual abuse over a 10-year relationship. She claimed that Penn was a drug addict since the age of 14 and recounted incidents where he allegedly used cocaine in the presence of their children. Okay, so he allegedly had that one incident with this woman for 10 years with her allegations since childhood. And then there's somebody else named Nick Lentz, a fellow UFC fighter, accused Penn of being a dirtbag and a drug addict, stating that during a training session in Hawaii, he observed Penn's erratic behavior and suspected substance abuse. While these accounts suggest concerns regarding the substance abuse, it's important to note that he's not officially charged or convicted with any drug-related offenses. Okay, so these are personal claims from people. You know, I don't know what this could be. Combination, just the head.
I need to do all of this in order to properly highlight how utterly crazy all of this is. Now, I get that all of this is so bizarre and confusing that it's easy to get lost in his explanation, but here's a very friendly reminder that he ends his video off by saying this.
She's trying to throw me out, and if I attack her, she'll try to do something, TL roll or something else, but she's...
Look, I'm really hoping that I'm misinterpreting what he says here, but at the very least, it seems like BJ has gotten aggressive enough with his mom to the point where she's had to warn him that that if he attacks her, then she'll file a temporary restraining order against him. Like, I don't know how or why she would have conveyed this information to him unless he already escalated the situation at least once before. There's definitely already been an argument or an incident where he was aggressive towards her, and that forced her to threaten him with a TRO. And with that information in mind, I think that this situation has officially crossed over from crazy to dangerous. This guy BJ, who suffered several lifetimes worth of brain damage while he was a UFC fighter, is currently unable to recognize his own mom and thinks that she's an imposter who's out to steal his family's money. He is living under the same roof as her as we speak, and I am not exaggerating when I say that I am kind of fearful for that old lady's safety. And look, I make it very clear on this channel that I know nothing about anything, so when it comes to Penn here, I don't know if this is him having a manic episode, or if this is psychosis, or if this is just CTE, or maybe it's all of the above. But I have seen people online saying that this sounds like a case of something called Capgras syndrome, which is described as a rare psychiatric disorder characterized by the delusional belief that a familiar person, such as a family member or close friend, has been replaced by an identical imposter. And I'm not going to go around diagnosing mental illnesses when I have no knowledge of these things myself, but I don't know, it sounds pretty similar to what's happening here with BJ. I've also seen people say that this is a psychotic episode as a result of his continued drug use. First noteworthy insight into his drug problem comes from a former editor of BJPenn.com who accused Penn of not only being addicted to cocaine, but also of forcing himself on his girlfriend, who was a Playboy model. Oh, Jesus. Then in 2019, UFC fighter Nick Lentz said that when he went to Hawaii to train with Team Penn, it was obvious just by looking at him that BJ was an addict.
And now finally, I guess, I don't know why all of a sudden he's decided.
Well, that's Nick Lentz, the guy we just talked about.
Maybe he came down off some coke binge or something, and he decided now's the time that we're going to actually accept it. So you're not a legend. You're a dirtbag. You're a drug addict. You don't take care of your family. You don't take care of your fans. You do nothing good for nobody, and you need to get your shit together. Like, not to go into too much history, but the way I grew up and the place that, like, where I've been in life, I can spot a drug addict. I can see it.
And then also in 2019, Penn's girlfriend at the time filed a restraining order against him for a decade of abuse, and in her statement, she outright said that he's been a drug addict.
So it was 14. Wow. Oh, he was on the Joe Rogan
stuff. Hearing this from three completely doesn't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's an addict. I think it's pretty compelling stuff hearing this from three completely different sources, and if you're asking me, I believe them. This is a really messed up situation, and even though I hope things are going to improve, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't genuinely worried that BJ's going to do something awful if he doesn't get the help that he needs. And frankly, if you've been following along with the saga that has been his life post-retirement, then you know that Penn has only been spiraling deeper and deeper into his erratic behavior for the past decade now. In January 2015, he was arrested in Kihei, Hawaii, and hit with an assault charge after a brawl outside of a bar. In June 2019, an intoxicated Penn fought a bouncer outside of a Honolulu strip club. On August 27th, 2019, he was involved in a bar brawl on Hawaii's Big Island, and as a result, he was released from the UFC in early September following the incident. On February 7th, 2020, he was involved in a single-car accident in Hilo, Hawaii. According to local media, he was allegedly speeding when he lost control of his pickup truck, and his vehicle flipped in front of a Hilo shopping mall. He was investigated by the Hilo Police Department for DUI, and his blood was drawn at the scene, but no charges were filed. On December 8th, 2020, a paternity lawsuit was filed against him by the mother of one of his children. On January 23rd, 2021, he was arrested in Honoka, Hawaii, and was charged with DUI, but was later released from jail hours after his arrest pending an investigation. Video footage recorded from a bystander shows him handcuffed, drunk, and belligerent as he was yelling racial slurs at the police and the man recording.
Dude, you're not the only howdy here. We all niggas. We all niggas, you fucking dummy. You dumb! We all niggas! You fucking dummy! We all niggas! You fucking idiot!
In 2023,
Bro, this guy has had a crazy ass crash course of a history.
BJ made headlines for making claims that CTE is fake, which I mean, ironic. In
Wow. Jeez.
September 2024, he posted a picture to his Instagram where he revealed that he knocked out the boyfriend to one of his daughters after he learned that he hit her. Honestly,
Oh, okay. So he said he hit her. Okay, he said he claims the boyfriend hit the daughter.
TE is fake, which I mean, ironic. In September 2024, he posted a picture to his Instagram where he revealed that he knocked out the boyfriend to one of his daughters after he learned that he hit her. Honestly, I don't mind this one too much, but I just want to point out that in the caption, he said that he's against domestic violence, even though he's the same guy that was hit with a 2-year restraining order after extreme accounts of abuse towards his ex-girlfriend. Then in October of 2024, he accused the CIA of being responsible for Max Holloway Pele getting knocked out by Ilia Topuria. Like, what? My point here is, BJ is in a terrible state right now, and dare I say it, at least to my knowledge, he's probably the worst off in terms of his state of mind out of all the other fighters from his era. Right now, Penn makes Tito Ortiz look like GSP, and seeing as BJ was my first ever favorite UFC fighter when I was getting into the sport, this is pretty tough to see. I mean, getting into drunken fights really isn't even all that bad when we're talking about retired UFC fighters. I feel like that's almost to be expected, but all of the abuse and sexual violence allegations, and then of course what we're seeing right now with him believing his mom has been replaced, is all really disturbing stuff. You know, Penn fought in MMA during a time when the fighters basically didn't care or didn't even think about how the head trauma that they took would affect them later in life. Obviously, they went to war with each other in the UFC, but even in the gym, the fighters of his generation were known to treat sparring as if they were full-blown fights, and I strongly suspect that he was one of the guys that went all out even in training. And as the old saying goes, you either pay now or pay later, and it seems like the price for his choices are coming back to say hello. And yeah, I don't know how else to end this video other than I hope that BJ's state of mind starts to improve soon, and I hope that he doesn't do anything crazy before that happens, because that lady is without a doubt his mom, and the fact that he can't recognize that is frightening and dangerous.
That is scary as shit. Oh my god. I'll put this guy's link in the description. ITP MMA Live. That's crazy, man. That's scary as shit. I don't know what's going on there. James said, I think my girlfriend might have been replaced. Her cooking gone to shit. Weird, man. We'll keep an eye on that one. And yeah, his family should be very cautious. Very cautious, careful. All right, let's jump over to the next stream so I can go get this stupid key thing done so I can get the water heater back. Hopefully today. I don't want, you know. So I'm going to transfer you guys now to the next stream. We're going to talk a little bit about the Saligrano, whatever you call them, family that was on the run from themselves. I covered this story a long time ago, and then now there's an update. It's been a couple weeks now, but there's been an update. We got to talk about it. He has a reason now why they were running from themselves. So I'm going to transfer you guys right now. In case you don't get transferred, here's the link to the next live stream. You just drop it in the chat. Bloop, bloop. Are we all real? Please don't start talking like that. You're going to trip me out. Please don't start talking like that. Are we all real? Are we here? Is time real? Does it exist? What does it matter? Time is just a concept. Or what do they call that? I don't know. A human construct. Is there really time? With no time is insanity. Okay, I'll see you guys.